Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is the real meaning of a necessary evil. When you hear the term a necessary evil, what does that mean to you? To me, what it means is pivotal points in your life that you either accepted a challenge or you avoided a challenge. And that determines, or that's the difference between the person that you are and the person that you wanted to be. When you look at the two and you look back in your life and you see the opportunities that you had to do certain things and you either did it or you didn't do it, that's how you end up being where you are today, right in this moment. I remember as a child, I had a fear of the water, and I was in the class and waiting for my turn, but class had ended before I got an opportunity to swim. And my instructor said, "Jonathan, you want to get in the water?" I could have kicked the can down the road and waited till the next day or waited till the next week, but I decided to get into the water right then and there. As a parent, when you have a child, the last thing you want to think of when you're holding this baby is disciplining this child. But you know, if you don't, what kind of child that baby's going to grow up to be. And you want a productive member of society. So you accept the fact that, yes, I'm going to have to discipline this child. When your child comes home, somebody chasing them, somebody bullying them, you have to do what is necessary for them not to be running from their fears. So you have to send that child right back outside. Well, at least that's what they did when I was little. We had to go right back outside. We couldn't let nobody chase us home. That to me is what a necessary evil is. When you want to play football, but only want to show up on game day, you don't want to practice. When you want to play the piano, but you don't want to take the lessons, you just want to just play. When you put in the time, put in the work to do what others won't do, that's a necessary evil. Now, I say all that to say this. There was a senator, a former senator named Tom Cotton, who used the phrase a necessary evil to justify slavery. And when I heard that, it made me think. I'm like, what is he talking about? Tom Cotton is using a metaphor to justify the literal, because the evil in a necessary evil does not necessarily pertain to an evil act. It's something that you do. It's a metaphor meant to do something that that you really don't want to do, but you feel you have to do to better yourself. You don't use a necessary evil to force somebody else to do what you should be doing. That does not build the character associated with this term. When you have a child that accepted an award, graduation, some type of social achievement, and he started thanking all the people that helped him get where he's at. Whenever he say, "Thank you, mom," "Thank you, uncle," "Thank you, dad," generally that's a metaphor. The thank you is a metaphor for beating his butt whenever he needed it, staying on him, not giving up. doing what they had to do as parents and support group to put him in the position that he's in now. Nobody on earth ever accepted an award because they forced somebody else to do all the work. But this is what whites are doing. They're forcing us to do all their work, and they're sitting up collecting all the rewards. He's using a metaphor to actually justify the horrors that it took to enslave our people. The raping of men, women, and children. 300 years of no education. Pitting our people against each other. The lynching of men and women. Hanging a woman upside down, pregnant, so her dress falls over her head, while you got other pregnant slaves there to watch. Then you take gasoline and pour it on the dress and set it on fire. And while she's screaming in pain and agony, you take a knife and slice open her pregnant belly, forcing the unborn baby to fall out onto the ground. And then you stomp the head of that child till it's dead, horrifying the onlookers. So the fear that they see is being sent right down to their bellies, so the babies can experience what the mothers are seeing. You're using a metaphor to justify pure evil. A necessary evil, like I say, is pivotal times in your life where you accept challenges and you do these things to improve or better yourself. The way he's doing it, or the way he's using this term, you're about forcing somebody else to do what you should be doing. That's not a necessary evil. Enslaving somebody to do what you should be doing, that's not a necessary evil. Getting rewarded for forcing somebody else to do what you should be doing, that's not a necessary evil. That's just evil. And in the brain, you have an upper region and a lower region. And in between is a barrier. And it separates the good and the bad, the acceptable and the unacceptable, the moral and the immoral. Melanated people, we always operate in the upper region of our brain. Non-melanated people or like people, they operate in the lower region. They have no depth of thought. When you ask them a question like, how do you end slavery, or how do you improve the racial divide in this country, they generally come up with this, well, can't we just put it behind us and just go on from here? Because they always think in the shallow part of the pool where anybody can be. They have no thoughts, no compassion that'll put them on the deep end where you have to have some type of skill to participate in this area. This goes against their nature because they have no nature but evil. But before I end this video, we have clowns like this in office in Washington in position of power and authority over us that set the course of our way of life. And these clowns, they all belong in the circus. And now they're being led by a puppeteer ringmaster named Donald Trump. Before this clown was in office, or this bozo, it was called a POTUS, President of the United States. This guy has added some more letters to that. PMFOTUS, Petty Mother of the United States. This is one petty person. But he's just a puppet. Recently they asked Donald Trump, why didn't he attend the funeral of one of the longest serving senators. John Lewis been in the office about 30-something years, 35 years, something like that. And they asked him how come he didn't attend the funeral, or what did he think of his legacy? What would they say about him? And in response, he was like, "Well, I don't know. I really didn't know the guy. I really didn't meet him. I don't think." So how come you didn't go to his funeral? Well, he never came to my inauguration. He never came to none of my speeches, So I'm like, you real petty. You're a real petty guy. You did the same thing to John McCain, and he's part of your own political party. You didn't like the fact that when you went to Maryland to go do a speech, they had a battleship with John McCain's name on it because he was a sailor or Navy man, whatever he was, but he was part of the military and they had his name on the battleship. And you ordered them to cover the name while you were there. This is how petty this guy is. And these are the people that we have in office. These are our so-called leaders. God said, therefore come out from among them. That's in 2 Corinthians 6:17. Come out from among them. Separate from them. And yet we don't. And you see what happened. Donald Trump, he posed with a Bible. And when they asked him what's his favorite scripture, and he said first of all, he didn't have one. And then when they mentioned 2 Corinthians, he called it 2 Corinthians. These are the people that are leading us. And God has told you, and I'm telling you, it is time for us to come out from among them and for us to separate. It will be for our betterment, I promise you. I'm going to end this video here. And if you like this message, please take the opportunity to share it. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is to promote the complete liberation of my people. And I will see you in my next video. Ashe.